at the beach. Young Leonardo ain't got any shit on me. Heart throb with the team, we escape in the streets. Travel around the whole world, I got sand on my feet. Got your palm in my hands, calm in a palm tree. Let's build our own farm, run away like Sherry. I'm your cherry bomb, sipping on a cherry beat. Getting freaky to the speaker, call that high fidelity. Tell you how back now, baby. Tryna pull up in your driveway. They say your presence lady, but I gotta have it my way. Tell you how.
All right, folks, we are live. So thank you so much for joining us, man. It's always cool to have you awesome people in the stream. So we already got people saying hello. Let's say hello to them back. So hello, Monique. Hello, Yolanda. Thank you for tuning in and watching us. And just like Yolanda said over there, if you're checking us out on YouTube, you can go to our YouTube page, youtube.com/the Gabe Leal Experience. If you're over there checking us out, thank you so much. Hit the like and subscribe button. We are always trying to build viewership over there. Hit the notification bell as well. It will let you know whenever we are live, whenever we schedule new lives, and whenever we drop new video content on the channel. So if you're watching us over on YouTube, like our buddy there, Tech Troublemaker, thank you so much. You're probably already subscribed. Let everybody else know about it. So thank you again if you're watching us over there on YouTube. And of course, we are on our favorite platform, LinkedIn. So if you're just checking us out over on LinkedIn, thank you so much, guys. It is awesome to see you guys rocking in the house. We have Mr. Doug Lehman in the comments. Monique is here, and Yolanda's watching on both. You're a G, Yolanda, for checking us out on both LinkedIn and YouTube. Much love for doing that. So there you go. If you're checking us out on our socials, we are streaming, of course, on Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook as well. But it's not like we really pay attention to those other ones. We do. We give love. Sorry about that. Okay. All right, guys. And again, if you're checking us out for the first time, thank you so much for joining the show. We do this every Monday through Friday, 8:15 Eastern Standard Time. We got a wonderful guest lined up for you. But before we do, we want you to go check out our merch store, because we do got merch. That's right. So if you head over to the Impro Media Swag store, you can get your Impro Media swag. We got hats, shirts, cups, mugs. We're going to have hoodies and stuff as the winter months start approaching. But we got swag, man. Go help a brother out. Go over to the swag store, buy some merch, and support the cause, man. We're always trying to, stuff ain't free around here, folks. Daddy needs new dancing shoes, so go get him some new dancing shoes. Go buy some swag. We would appreciate it. And, of course, I do hang out afterwards. You can check us out.
Release the Kraken.
Head over to our Discord channel after the show. I hang out there 15, 20 minutes. Catch up with anybody, any Q&As, anybody want to hang out, say hello. That is where we network after the show. So you can head over to our Discord channel after the show. So there you go. If you don't have the link, we'll drop the link in the comments as well. Hello to all the wonderful folks still being here. Tanya, how are you as well? And of course, we want give love to our Inky Black team. They help with our design, our logo, some of the show prep. So much love to the Inky Black team. So we're happy to be here. We got a awesome guest lined up, guys. Look, when I always talk about a few things on the platform, I always talk about things not being boring and creative. Ooh, wow. I'm pretty sure there's something very deep there, Erica. Again, haha. But thank you for sharing that. Love it. Okay, so we have a wonderful guest lined up, guys. This individual, we connected, say about a couple months ago. Actually, might be a little longer than that. But I love what he was doing with his with this content that he was creating here on the channel. Because again, if you guys have been on the LinkedIn platform for a while, you know how sometimes things can get boring, slow, mundane. So this gentleman actually added a little bit of spark, and I love what he does creatively. So when I reached out to him and asked him to be on the show, and he said, of course, I was like, okay, let's have a conversation live, and we're going to do this. And I love what he told me, personally, because I love structure. I do these things, of course. And one of the things I do is send out questions, and he's like, no, look, we're going to do unfiltered. We're going to be, it is unfiltered. It is live. And we want to share and be very open and say a lot of things that, again, what we want to avoid from being here on the platform. So guys, help me welcome to the show our guest for the evening, my friend. Hopefully he'll become your friend, our friend. Welcome, Mr. Chris Bogue, everybody. So give him a round of applause. He is here.
Hey,
Hold your
shut up, everybody.
Yes.
Just calm down.
Yes, I was gonna say,
Shut up.
This guy's a professional. He's been on stage. He knows how to handle an audience and hecklers. So Chris, let's get started a little bit about what you mentioned to me when we started talking here, and I wanted to talk about being unfiltered. So you haven't been on LinkedIn very long, have you? About how long have you been on the platform? When did you actually start creating content here on LinkedIn?
I started creating content about a year and a half ago. About 2 years ago is when I started like regularly posting. I started posting as a sales rep as COVID happened because I couldn't reach people by phone. I couldn't go visit them in person anymore. So LinkedIn was just like one more avenue. And I kind of like fell backwards into video. I accidentally discovered that I was really good at making short sales videos that would get me meetings, you know? So then we had a bad campaign. Most of us missed quota, and I decided that I was like, yeah, this moment is such a live, like no one knows what the hell is going to happen kind of a moment. I'm just going to go teach people to do this. And I started making content on LinkedIn, again, about a year and a half ago. It was originally talking head stuff. I was just explaining things about sales. I was telling people how to cold call, things like that. And then I have this extensive sketch background, this sketch comedy background that I had not shared with LinkedIn.
Yes.
And I just started kind of doing it accidentally. I hadn't been doing live shows for about 3 years. I was on a creative dry spell. And I started doing things where I would cut to another character and it would be me playing a character. And then the character stuff started blowing up. So I was like, oh, wow. I'll just do more of this. And then, I'm like continuously trying to like push the limits on LinkedIn, like use features for reasons they're not supposed to be used for, and like talk about things you're not supposed to talk about. Because I want to show people that, like, one, no one can shut you up. You can just go and go.
Right.
And two, like, were they going to stop you? Like if you get their attention, you have their attention. And that's half of sales, is just getting someone's attention, getting them to stop ignoring you. So, I just do that now. And it turns out there's a lot of different ways to be entertaining for 30 seconds. And, it's fun.
And again, this is where I think you kind of springboarded into like how the shift has changed in the way people consume video content, which has been pretty awesome. And I love when it happens like sort of organically, where you're like, I discovered this, that I had, first of all, that I had this talent to do this. and using the background and the skills that you already had from years of what you did in your past to kind of now transition it into doing what you're doing now, because that's how our attention spans are pretty much. It's like squirrel, and we turn our heads, and everybody's just looking everywhere else, because that is what we do now. It's like constant scrolls, everything else. So coming on the platforms is, yes, Jacob, 30 seconds is a little long in the bedroom and for video. So, but
you can do a lot in 30 seconds though, you know? I mean, people want to knock on it. It's like, you can get pretty creative, and
yes.
This is not the world that I asked for. You know, it wasn't my idea for all of us to not have attention spans, but we don't, you know? So like, you just got to deal with it.
Right. And then, you know, to use it, and again, use it advantageously for the purposes that you are using it for now. I think for a lot of people who like want to get started and they see that and they see somebody like you doing this and they go, I would love to do that. Right. I don't know how. Right. And that's part of the problem, is trying to get people to actually learn that what you can actually do with, first of all, creativity and your imagination and what you put together, and how things like you've done with characters. I'm exploring this now, because and I'm going to say I took a page out. I actually mentioned you when I decided to start doing some of these things, because I see that what you do, you have fun with it. And sometimes it's just pretty obvious what you're doing, but yet people still follow along. People still enjoy it. People, again, I was like, you know what? I love that idea, because that's what I say when I'm supposed to be unique. Right.
Well, let's talk a little bit about like what I'm actually doing out here for anyone in your audience who doesn't know. You know, I've been trained in like a number of different places. One of which was Chicago's Second City. So
Yes.
Second City is a sketch comedy theater that has been around since the 1950s. A lot of our favorite SNL players have come from there. You know, they teach this very classic style that they still teach their ensembles the way they taught in the 1950s, you know? So it's a little bit more highbrow. It's a little bit more like go for the obscure reference and just assume that your audience is going to get it.
Yeah.
And it's all about like, you start with a grain of truth, you know, and you really try to summon a real person, and you just find one comic thing and you just exaggerate it as large as you can, you know? But it is a style of theater that is more informal, but also more professional than what most of B2B SaaS companies are doing on LinkedIn, which is corny, performative. It's just like, it's so cringy, you know? And it's like, you go out there with like a little bit of attitude, a little bit of satirical edge, you know, you arm yourself in some of that vulnerability, and you get permission to do whatever you want, you know? And yeah, it's difficult. And, you know, we're getting real here. So yes. I'll get real about some of these companies here. Companies are starting to copy what I'm doing in different ways. I've caught multiple B2B companies taking ideas from me, taking, you know, titles for events, trying to do my premises, trying to do care. I see them out there doing it, and they can't do it the same as me because I have all this sketch training and they don't. You know, they know how to make fun of things. But my thing is, you want to create a character that you actually have like emotional stakes in. And then that's funny because the audience sees that it's real, you know, and I will tap into a more defeated version of myself, or a version of me that's a more impatient version of myself, who's me at my most assholeness, you know. But it's like, I'm exaggerating that part of me, but everything else is still the same, you know. And I think the companies out there trying to do the sketch comedy thing, there's very few of them that can actually not be above the scene. They don't know how to embody a character because they didn't write characters. And a lot of what I was doing at Second City was I was writing and directing shows that I was not performing in. You know,
Yeah.
I was in the booth, but you're writing the words for a cast, and you know, you get that cast and you see what their skills are, and then you write around the cast. And you're like, oh, she's an opera singer. You know, we could use that. This guy's just no nonsense. This guy could play a soldier. You know, and you start looking at the ensemble, and that was always my skill, was being able to get a performance out of other people. So, you know, I'm selling myself out there, and I've had companies who've rejected my coaching, and then they just try to do it themselves, and it's not as sharp. And it's like, guys, you know, there's a method to this. You know, it's not just silliness. There's structure, and there's a reason why people move to Chicago to learn this particular style of performance before they move to New York or, you know, LA or wherever, and they, you know, try to become stand-ups or actors or whatever.
Yeah. And let's talk a little bit about your character development and what you do with your own, how you've created the ways that you reach out to companies. So, give example for a few people who maybe have not followed your content. So if you, again, I'm trying to pitch here, folks, if you want to go check out Chris's content, who are some of the characters that you've created that people have kind of taken a liking to, or I'm pretty sure they hit you in the DMs and say, hey, when are you going to do this again? Or when are you going to do this character again?
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure you have a few of those.
So the first one was, I was doing a Wolf of Wall Street parody. It was one of the first videos I ever made. It was over a year ago.
Yeah.
And I needed a boss. I needed someone to shove the pen in my face, because I was going to do an explainer video.
Yes.
I was like, oh, this is how you solve it. I'm like, oh no, it would be so much more interesting to throw me in the middle of a situation and someone is like shoving the pen in my face and making me sell it, and they're not going easy on me. They're making it really hard, you know? So I did this stupid, you know, exaggerated,
I think Teresa says it, this exaggerated, impatient a-hole.
Yeah. Well, and the character is now known as Boss Bogue, and it's me in a shirt and tie. You know, I'm just a no nonsense businessman. He's like a combination of like every single sales boss I've ever had, plus my own worst inner critic, plus a tiny little bit of Donald Trump, plus, you know, it's a mix. It's like anything in there. You're kind of channeling different things, but I was doing all these explainer videos, and then all of a sudden I did this sketch where it's fast and it's moving back and forth, and it's me and this ridiculous boss character, and he's screaming obscenities at me, and it just blew up on TikTok. And I'm like, well, you know, I'm a business owner now. If that's what's going to get me seen, then I'm gonna do more of this. So I started throwing the boss in there more, and then I created a character named Vague Man, who is an even bigger hit. Vague Man is just me in front of like a blurry background, and I've got like a cape on, and I just speak in vague LinkedIn nonsense.
Right.
And it never means anything. It is like a challenge of like, what is the most like over elaborate way you can say nothing? And yeah, that was another one where it's just like, I made the video. I thought it was a one-off character. And I started getting DMs and comments being like, you need to bring this character back. And so, yeah, I try out new characters all the time. And if the audience is like, oh, I like that one, then I'm like, great. Now I can just roll that character out every few weeks.
Right.
And it keeps the audience tuning in.
Yeah, I love that because, well, number one is that people, again, start building familiarity with what you do, and plus, you know, you do get to make fun of some of the things that do happen here on LinkedIn because, for those who aren't very active on the platform or just coming on the platform, sometimes it gets dry. It is like watching, and especially how you curate your feed. Sometimes it's just the same stuff over and over again. And I love it to see when somebody can actually bring a little bit of a spice, a little bit of edge, a little bit something to what they're doing here that's totally different than what we're used to seeing, because that's where people start flocking to. So there's like a few characters on the platform that actually do that. And I want to ask you, like, how do you feel as far as like, have you gotten any brushback? Have you gotten any sort of thing from actually LinkedIn itself or anything along those lines of saying, hey, this isn't cool, or we don't like?
So TikTok, removed one of my videos. I learned that LinkedIn is more forgiving of weed smoking than TikTok, because TikTok is owned by the Chinese government, and I forget that sometimes. And I made a TikTok one time, and it did better on LinkedIn. I did it during a LinkedIn Live. But the TikTok is just me, is super short. I'm sitting there and I'm like, I went on LinkedIn for sales advice. They told me don't sell anything and be authentically you. So here goes nothing.
Yeah.
And then I just lit up a joint, and that was the end of the video. And that was one of those ones where, like, I did it, and I was surprised by who clicked the like button on LinkedIn. I'm like, okay, she parties. That's nice.
Yes.
And then, yeah, TikTok was like, your video has been removed for illegal activity. And I was like, one, you don't know what's in this roll. This could just be harmless tobacco.
Exactly.
And two, you know, it's legal. It's legal. And that's one thing I've learned too, where it's like, I am finding ways to push the boundaries because work and home have fused together. And, you know, I don't talk about politics. I'm not going to talk about politics here, but I say, hey, look at who's been president recently. The rules on what you can say have changed recently. You can be a professional, and you can be, you know, you can say things that were previously thought of as unprofessional. And it's because, like, we can't hide anymore. We can't hide and have this artificial version of ourselves. Or you can, and you'll end up looking like 80% of the cringe on LinkedIn. But when you start saying something real, people are like, hang on. Like, that's true. And, you know, the fun part about the comedy, and the reason why I keep going back to, like, you build a character, you don't make fun of something, you build a character. It's because that allows me to make fun of everybody.
Yes.
Including myself. If
Self-included.
I am making myself, then I can go even harder. And I have had instances where I put a video out there and I get a bunch of conservatives saying, man, you really stuck it to those liberals. Like, good job. And then I get a bunch of liberals who are like, man, you showed those racist conservatives. And I'm like, joke's on you, because I was just making fun of me because I'm a scumbag, you know? Yeah, but if everybody, and when you do it that way, when you're the butt of the joke and you're exploring your own real feelings, your own real shortcomings, and your own hypocrisies, everyone feels like you're on their side. Right. You know, and now they're not defending themselves. Now they're not defending their ego because you're rubbing their nose in, like, all these things that are wrong about their life. You're laughing at your own, the thing about you that's real. And that's what they always teach you on stage. And it's like, I've done sketch comedy. I've done more improv than sketch comedy. I've done a lot of improv. I've done a lot of stand-up. Yeah. And it's all about, like, if you create this real moment, and you need that too. You need that, especially in stand-up.
Right.
Stand-up is nothing but you. So you have to quickly demonstrate to the audience that you are on their side. And once they are comfortable with you, once they're like, okay, I think this seems like the type of person I could trust, then you can push the envelope, you know?
Yes.
Someone mentioned my TikTok. Chris Sells His Soul is my TikTok.
Yes.
Chris Sells His Soul. I'm on Twitter, Chris Sells Soul.
I'll drop all those in the chat afterwards. But there's something that I want to mention, because you did this here on this platform, and I love that you're doing it. You did it here on this platform. You did an improv in LinkedIn audio event. How did that work out? And what I love is because folks, even though quote unquote LinkedIn might be recording these things, you can't go back and listen. So you have to be there and experience. So I guess whatever is said there. And, you know, it's Fight Club rules. You know, nobody talks about Fight Club, whatever happens in here. So how did that actually go? I know that you did it, a few weeks back?
Yeah, so I'm looking to do that. So the goal is I'm going to be doing that once a month. My audio live stream is called Chris Bogue and Friends, a Pass the Mic improv show. And I think the problem with audio events is it's usually just one person rambling or a couple people just talking and talking. So my show is a short show where many different types of voices all contribute in a short amount of time. So nice. It's designed to be quick. We play 3 different games, And I try to get a diverse group of players, which means different ages, different genders, different ethnicities, different job titles, different levels of experience. Some people will be trained performers, some people will be non-performers. And yeah, it's a form that I'm developing, but it's the idea is like, yeah, you throw a group together, you have really simple games where you go through and everybody just quickly gets a bunch of ideas out. And, you know, now you've generated a ton of ideas, and, you know, it's called Chris Bogue and Friends, because I end it by saying, now go forth and be friends. And you take those connections, you take those ideas you came up with,
Right.
and, you know, you've created something together. And yeah, there's something about having to collaborate in the moment as a group that, you know, you come up with something better than what you think you're capable of coming up with.
Right. And you're still doing what the intended purpose of being on a platform here is. You're still connecting and networking in a more creative setting. I mean, that's what I love about it, is the fact that you tend to think outside of the box. And that's where first of all, when I connect with somebody and see them doing that, I'm like, okay, a lot of what he's doing is going to be very either uniquely taken in by the masses, or they're going to find it as controversial because they don't understand it, or doesn't make, quote unquote, doesn't make sense to them. It's like the shit that I do here. Like sometimes I do stuff that is like over the top, and people are like, what is the purpose of your show? And I'm telling them sometimes there is no fucking purpose. Sometimes there is no purpose except for us to come together and just hang out and have fun. That is sometimes what I do. Like people ask me, like, come on my show, we're going to be talking about business, or what are we going to be talking about doing today? No, we're just talking about what, like we're doing here, being real, or being the things that you, again, can do differently than anybody else here on the platform. And not just on this platform, but on every fucking platform that you go on. So if it's on TikTok, if it's on Twitter, if on any of these other social media places that you can go out there and create. And I love it for a reason, because it pushes the envelope. And this is something that you've talked about, is pushing the envelope of what you can do. Because again, in a corporate structure, people feel like, oh my God, I can't say I couldn't say those things. I couldn't say.
But like, who's going to arrest you? The LinkedIn police? You know, like, what is the worst that's going to happen to you? You know, and this is something I get into with business owners all the time. And it's like, you know, people in the SaaS world, and like, I've had to do what I do because originally I was just doing fun stuff, and people were, you know, business leaders were like, oh, that's fine, but, you know, we need something that's going to make money. And I'm like, this is what makes money. You know, like, I am doing the stupid comedy because it pays the bills better than boring shit. You know, like it is like this is a valuable thing. And I'm surprised more comedians aren't showing up on LinkedIn to just do stuff.
Yeah.
And I always say, like, it's a great audience for me because, one, there are no children here. There are no children on LinkedIn. It is the only platform. If you go on TikTok, if you go on Twitter, if you go anywhere, you know, there's 14-year-old kids trolling and, you know, teenagers twerking. And I'm like,
Yes.
I can't, it's hard for me to compete with just like children, you know, for an audience that's largely children, but adults. When you're on LinkedIn, your audience, either they have money, which means they can pay you, or they have a job that is not paying them very well, in which case you can steal their attention, you know? If their job isn't paying them well, that's just a good potential audience member. So, yeah, you can get up here, you can say fuck, you can talk about all sorts of things, you know? And like, yeah, it's great.
And this is where, like, again, so you touched on something that I love to talk about as well. There are no kids on this platform. Not only are there no kids on this platform, but this is why I call LinkedIn the Wild Wild West, and people have not taken advantage of this yet. Like, any other platform that I would stream on, and I'm using my streaming as an example, if I played my intro the way it did, my audio would get muted. I would get copyright strikes or warnings or anything else. Here on LinkedIn, they don't have the software. They don't have anything to keep up with that. So like you said, I can come on here and say shit, fuck, damn, cunt, hell, all the fun words that I want to say, And there is nothing from them preventing me from doing these things unless somebody
none of this matters. None of it. Like this is the thing your audience needs to remember
Yes.
is that the people who are on LinkedIn, right? They're smart, they're educated, they have good jobs, and they want to make as much money as possible with as little effort as possible. So that's why they hire their LinkedIn person to go make 2 shitty LinkedIn posts every day at the exact same time. And, you know, and it's like, yeah, if you just show up and you've got something a little raw and a little like, and I always like just to play with expectations, you know, I feel like, one of my skills as a writer is figuring out what the audience thinks they're going to get next and then not giving them that, you know, finding a way to subvert their expectations. And yeah, it's like there's just people sitting around killing time, you know, and if you get them, you got them, you know, and if you're doing sales like I was doing, you spend like 5 or 6 hours a day just calling and emailing nobody. You know, nobody's saying anything to you except fuck off. But it's like you could just walk in right through the front door and start talking to like executive leadership at these top companies. It's like, what the fuck is going on here? And why are more people not doing this?
Exactly. People, again, look, this is the reverse process that I've taken as well. Like there are like high-end YouTube creators that come here as well. And what I love about it is like, if I were to try to reach out to them on their platforms, I would not get the time of day. Like you said, I would go and knock on their door and I would be shown the door by security and go bye-bye. But yet I see them sometimes come here on LinkedIn, and the moment that I connect, they're like, I got a LinkedIn message? Hold on, let me go check this out. And it literally just opens the door for me to walk in and say, hello. So I've done this with CFOs, COOs, CEOs. You can just pretty much say, hello, how you doing? And all of a sudden they're just reaching out to you, and you can get access more readily than you could if you were to go meet them in a Slack channel or in any of these other places. This is what I love about this platform. That's why I say it's the wild, wild west. It's like just an open field, and you can go pick where you want to go set up camp and who you want to reach out to, what you want to go do, and all the fun stuff that we're actually talking about now. I mean, this is, you know, again, other creators are coming here because they realize that, because they feel like sometimes you go somewhere else and they're handcuffed. And this is how starved this platform is for content creators, folks. Just so you know, they're paying for. Go, what were you gonna say, Chris?
Let's talk about how you can blatantly make money here. Just like,
yes.
I'm a big believer in like, they're like, you shouldn't sell yourself. That's so gauche. I'm like, pay me now. And like, I will just do things where I like my live stream. And this is one sneaky thing. I'm bringing my live stream back. I'm coming back this month.
Good.
Chris Sells His Soul, the podcast. I do a live stream. And again, we were talking about how I accidentally discovered that sketch comedy is valuable. And I started thinking to myself, like, oh, you know what? I've got sales leaders out there. What if I started pitching in character? What if I sent them a video? And then I'm like, you know what? Why don't I throw a live stream and get a few hundred people to show up? And then I'll throw a character bit in the middle of it to get everybody who's like really tuned in. And that bit is going to be a sales pitch.
Yeah.
And it's a segment in the middle of my show. It's called Gimme Gimme. And I bring my guest on and I'm just like, hey, this is Gimme Gimme, where we ask my audience for exactly what we want. And I switch into character. I throw on a suit and tie and I spin my chair around. And now I'm the Boss Bogue. And I just start screaming at them to pay me. You know, like, you fucking cheap bastards, like, hire me for your company. You don't know what you're doing. You know, and it just works. And now I have a new course that I'm going to plug the hell out of. It's about ready to be released. There's Kenny.
Yes.
I love Kenny. But like, yeah, I have a course now that I'm going to be selling. And this is just an opportunity where it's like, hey, I've got a platform. I've got all these, you know, executives and heads of sales and entrepreneurs in here. Okay, well, what the fuck is this, PBS? You know, you're going to sit here and watch me give you fucking gold and not pay me anything, you fucking misers. Yes. Buy my course, you know? And it's like, I just scream at them. And, you know, that's a much more direct way to do sales.
Exactly.
And I got to actually say to them what I think of their sales process. But because I removed it from this context of me cold calling them, I threw it in the middle of an entertainment sketch. They can just absorb the message, you know? And it's just this weird thing where I've figured out different ways to get in front of the people I need to influence. Because if you send a cold call or cold email or make a cold call, they just stop listening to you. They just start defending themselves.
Right.
But it's like, yeah. And now if anybody goes, listens to my podcast, every single episode, the middle of it has an advertisement for me, you know?
Yes. And let's talk about that. I want to go into the course because we did mention we were going to talk about something that you're doing in the course that you're putting out.
Yes.
And it is how did we put it? The hot dogular.
The hot dog gurgler.
The hot dogler. So we built out a little stream here about hot dogs and how you're going to integrate it into what you're doing in the course. So why don't you tell a little bit about how that is going to work for anybody who might be interested in signing up?
Okay, so this is great. So my course is called the Chris Bogue Method. It is a complete guide to selling on video. So there are a lot of solutions in the business world to put video into Gmail and LinkedIn.
Yes.
My partner, BombBomb, my corporate affiliate partner, my former corporate affiliate partner, Vidyard, Drift, Loom. There's all these tools out there, and business schools do not teach you how to do this. Business schools, sales trainers, they've been studying cold calling and cold emailing for decades. But this video thing is new. They do not know how to teach it. So this course is everything you need to get started. So it is camera placement and lighting. It is on-camera performance. It is script building. It is list building. Who should you be sending these videos to? What should the language be for a cold outreach versus a follow-up versus a referral? It's editing. How do you edit these and get them short? It's subject lines. How do you put the subject lines on them? And it's captioning. And yeah, I use all my stupid sketch characters to teach the lessons. So a lot of it is me, showing the audience how to do this. And then I'll throw to like one of my stupid sketch characters because that's funny, and the hot dog gurgler it's just me ripping off the hamburger. There's nothing, it's me in the prison outfit. And I like edit it. So there's two of me. So, and like the scene I filmed it. It's so stupid, but it's like module 5 and it's like, okay, we're going to start filming our footage. But first I'm going to have myself a little snack. And I go to grab the hot dog. And right before I grab the hot dog, version of me in the prison uniform or the jail uniform takes the hot dog, goes shh, and just like disappears out of the frame. And then I just scream in anger. Usually I'll scream obscenities at him, or I'll just be like, out. And then you just pop right back into the lesson, be like, oh, well, guess we'll get started then. And it's just that those little moments of absurdity, the audience never knows exactly when they're going to get it, but
it's a nice it's a nice pattern interrupt. Like to get people so we don't fall into the trance of is this just another boring sales meeting? Is this just another boring course or sales presentation? That kind of keeps them on edge. I like that it's not so, because again, I don't know what the statistics are. I'm going to make my own statistics up right here. And if I can talk,
love it.
Okay. 95% of people who buy courses don't use them or don't go through them sometimes. And I've had people who reach out and said, oh, I bought that course. And I was like, what was it like? Well, I never really used it.
Right. It's because the course is badly constructed. The course should pull you through it. Every single one of my lessons pulls you into the next lesson. And that's what I use the sketch comedy for, where it's like, wait, you can't stop now because you're going to learn this other thing. And here's why you need to learn that. And here's what you're going to get out of that, And it's like, this has taken me a couple weeks longer than I thought to get it out.
Yeah.
But it's because I'm trying to make it short and actionable. And it's not just sitting there listening to a bunch of long lectures. You are seeing it in real time. It is being explained to you. It is being visually demonstrated to you. And yeah, I emphasize a lot of these points by, throwing the audience into a sketch, where it's like, I want to show you how to make the best video you can make. So I'm going to pop into characters Vagueman and make the worst video you can see, you know? And it's just me as a performer being like, how can I do everything wrong? How can I break every single rule? And that's funny. And then you go to the audience and be like, okay, let's take a look at every single thing I did wrong and what you could do to do it better, you know? And then I actually show you how you fix your eye contact, you know, how you fix your call to action, how you know, all this stuff.
Right.
But yeah, this has been something where it's like, I started selling this. This is not a thing that sales trainers do. They are starting to do it now, but I kind of got out ahead of the curve. And I was like, yeah, you know, I am going to build this process because that's what they need right now. They need, you know, they don't have a way to do it at scale. And, you know, again, it's like the crazy characters just make everything more watchable.
Yes. And that's, and I love what Doug was saying here. Yes. Leveraging the absurdity of engaging pattern interrupts. That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Keep them
capture
always
their
guessing.
imagination.
Yeah. Keep them always guessing. Keep them always wanting more. And that's the best way how, again, you're going to do differently than any of these other sales presentations in ways that people can actually learn. I think that's a more engaging way. It's like literally when somebody actually does it and does it on the level of where we connect. So if it's like doing those sort of things where comedy is like, oh, I want to learn more now. I'm sort of open to it. I've let down that filter of saying, oh, this is just the same old shit that I'm used to listening to. Where all of a sudden, even talking about things like CTAs are like, well, okay, I'll be open to listening to how to use it now. You've shown me how to fuck it up and do it wrong. Now, how do I do it right? I mean,
yeah, well, and that's the other thing I'm trying to show people. And this is the thing I came here on LinkedIn that I have gotten some resistance about, but, you know, business leaders think creativity is something that's supposed to happen on nights and weekends, you know. If they want you to come up with, you know, a new creative project for work, they ask you to do it outside of work hours, you know. And what I'm trying to show them is that comedy can be learned. And the reason why they are failing on video in sales is because they are treating it like a cold call and they're not treating it like a video.
Yeah.
And, you know, it'll be a little bit contentious, but I'll get into arguments with sales leaders where they'll be like, well, video doesn't work. And I'm like, how good are you at video? Like, were your videos any good?
Thank you.
You know, and it's like, they're not thinking about that, you know?
Thank you.
The improv thing, you know, part of the fun of what I'm doing, and I've been referred to on more than one occasion as LinkedIn's improv coach, which I like that because, and this is the thing I tell when people are trying to like start a brand is I'm like, any skill that you paid to learn, someone would be willing to learn from you for free, you know? And it's like I paid thousands of dollars taking those classes and producing my own shows and hiring actors and hiring a band and building sets and marketing those shows and stuff. That took, you know, you learn as you do it. And they look at my background and they're like, oh, but you don't, you know, I'm an enterprise account executive. I'm like, well, you're playing to an audience though, you know, and I know you think that your prospect is different because you sell financial tech and that person's like a CEO or whatever, but we're all fighting for the same screen. You know, this is one screen. Your prospect is going to be watching, you know, Netflix, and then their kid is going to text them and they're reading their kid, and then your video is going to come through, you know?
Yes.
And we're all competing for the same space. So it's like, you got to remember that. And sales leaders, it's like, I think they're, honestly, I think they're bad at it. I think they're bad at video because they've never learned. And many of them are too prideful to learn.
Right.
They have learned to be successful using the phone and email. And maybe they tried making a couple of videos and those videos did not do well and they took too long. And, you know, I tell them, I'm like, you would never, if you hired a 22-year-old kid to pound the phones for you and he made 10 cold calls and said, nobody picked up, this doesn't work, you would tell him to go try more things, you know? Yeah, you make 5 videos as a sales leader, and then you're just going to decide that it doesn't work. Like you don't know enough about video yet to make that call, you know. And again, I came out here and I said to myself, like, I will never be able to explain to them the value of what I do. My only option is to show them.
Thank you.
If I show them
Preach to
and
the
they're
choir.
like, man, that guy, like, the audience he's playing to, the things he's talking about, the results he's getting, like, I want that too.
Yes.
That's how I do my sales. And it's like, I am starting to get to this point where it's like other people are doing what I'm doing. But at first it was like, yeah, I can't do anything other than just do it every day and let you see it until you get jealous.
Right.
Like, that's the only way to sell the LinkedIn as far as what I'm doing.
Exactly. And I have to do this just like you're talking about it with video. I have to do this with live streaming because people will tell me live streaming doesn't work. And I have to go tell them it's because you suck at it. You're doing it wrong. You've done 4 live streams. You had 10 people comment on your things. And yet I can do a live stream here every night and I can have 150 to 200, even to 500 comments, depending on the night. So what am I doing any different? Right? I just have to show you that it actually can work. Like if I wanted to, I could build this thing out and make it engaging so that if I wanted to go engage clients and customers and all these things that we're talking about here in a manner that will reach them directly on their level. And people will see it and they'll go, oh my gosh, why am I not doing that? It's because you suck at it. You need help. That is why they hire professionals like you and like me to go out there and show them. Because
well, yeah, you just got to start. You got to start, you know, and that's the thing I tell people is like when you start getting on camera in front of people, you start figuring out who you are,
yes,
you know, as a performer. And that takes time. You know, again, when I started on this road, I was just doing the talking head stuff because I'm like, well, you know, I'm not a sketch comedian anymore. I never made it to Saturday Night Live. You know, I'm tired of producing these shows and renting rehearsal spaces, and you know that's exhausting and those shows are hard to run. I guess I'm just going to give it up, you know. And then it's like, yeah, getting out here all the time, you know, it's made me into a much better performer, you know. But
yes,
my stuff that I'm doing now is on a whole different level than the stuff I was doing when I was a sales rep on, you know, for some company. You know, it's like you need time, and that's why I tell companies to hire me, because it's like you're probably not going to develop this process yourself. You know, you need someone who can come in there and get everyone on the same page right away. And if you want to start from scratch, you're going to have several months of just kind of spinning your wheels trying to figure out a process.
right. And yeah, hey, folks, this is where again where when you want to find the people and the experts and all the individuals that I have on this show, there's a reason that I reach out to them. There's a reason why they come on here, and there's a reason why they're very good at what they do. So Chris, really quickly before I forget, how is the best way that people can reach out to you and then sign up for the course? I believe I have let me share my screen here.
Yeah, so I've got 2 websites. If you want to get in on the pre-launch of the course, I'm pre-launching this any day now. I'm figuring out a couple last-minute details. But I'm doing a pre-launch where you're going to be able to get the course for $50 off. So if you join my email list at chrisbogue.io, that is just to get on the landing, or just to get on the VIP list so you can get the course. If you want to check out my work, there's a couple places to go. So you can go to my website, christopherbogue.com. That has my videos, that has my podcast, that has information about my coaching. If we want to throw a link up to that, too, I guess.
I'll put that in the comments so people can hook up to it.
Or if we want to show it on the screen or whatever. Just because, like,
yes, we can actually go. I forgot about that.
Just because chrisbogue.io is not as exciting. It's just a place to make sure you can get the course.
Okay. All right.
But yeah,
let me go back.
christopherbogue.com.
There we go. Christopher Bogue. CHRISTOPHERBOGUE.com.
Yep.
There we go.
So Yeah, so you can I've got coaching information there. I've also got videos. You can watch my announcement for the course. It's funny and absurd, like most of the stuff I do. My podcast episodes are in there.
Oh, look, we actually have a YouTube video.
Yeah. So you can find me there. Again, you can find me on TikTok at Chris Sells His Soul. You can find me on Twitter at Chris Sells Soul, or you can find me on LinkedIn. You can ring my bell.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm on. I have podcast episodes too, so you can find me on any of your favorite podcast apps, whether that's Stitcher or Apple or what have you.
Look at this. Look at all these TikTok videos.
The Chris Sells His Soul podcast. Yeah, there's my TikToks. So
nice.
So many places to find me. But yeah, the course, the complete guide to selling. If you're a person who runs your own business, if you're a sales professional, if you are sick of cold calling and cold emailing, and you're a person who is talkative, you're a person who likes to perform, you're a person who's interested in others, video might be a better choice for you than phone and email. So if you want to build your process, that course, I'm looking to drop it Friday. Okay. And if you get in on the pre-launch, you can get it for $50 off. I am very proud of this thing. It's been a lot more work than I thought of. I thought it would be, because it's, like 7 modules. Some of those modules have 8 or 9 lessons in them, Yes. So it's like, it is comprehensive, but it is fast. It moves fast. The lessons are short. They're actionable. It's full of comedy. And by the end of it, you will have your first batch of 25 videos to send directly to your sales pipeline to start driving you meetings.
There you go, folks. So if you want to reach out to Chris and go on LinkedIn and do what he said, ring his bell. That's how you can.
Or you could just talk. You don't have to buy my shit. I do free stuff every day on those platforms because it's fun for me. I actually, I have to run my own business, but making fun things and doing creative things is where I get my energy from. That's what gives me the will to live. So anybody who is into creating things, anybody who's into comedy, anybody who's just sick of LinkedIn bullshit, I love just chatting with people and meeting new friends.
There you go, folks. So, all right, Christopher, sit tight. Everybody else, thank you guys for showing up. You guys are awesome. I love what you guys do here. You are also part of the fun of what we get to do as creators. So real quickly, tomorrow, let's promo our guest for tomorrow evening. Miss India Delgado will be here. She's another live stream creator extraordinaire who I will geek out about talking about live streaming with tomorrow. But, man, again, guys, you guys have been wonderful this whole evening. And I have to say, thank you, everybody who's shown up here this evening, guys. And please go connect with Chris Bogue on LinkedIn if you haven't already. And you can go to christopherbogue.com to find all of his information. I'll drop this in the show notes on YouTube and here in the LinkedIn chat here in just a few. So you can go click on it and go follow. Again, pre-show for the course is hopefully Friday. He's trying to launch that, so maybe you guys can go check that out as well. And, man, it's been a really fast, 45, almost 50 minutes. So thank you again, guys, for being here. You are the best audience on LinkedIn, bar none. Again, I'm going to say it again. You guys are the best audience on LinkedIn, bar none. Screw everybody else. Fuck everybody else. This show here is the best. So there you go. Thank you again, everybody. I will be back tomorrow evening, 8:15 Eastern Standard Time with our guest, India Delgado. So until then, guys, be well, be blessed, be good, have fun, and we will talk tomorrow evening. So until then, good night, everybody.